Radio check, radio check, radio check. This is the Explorers Pod over.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Namaste, Dawa.
Namaste, a big namaste.
How are you?
I would say pretty okay, pretty good. Let's say, I mean, this is what we have to say now.
Yeah.
Okay. You're looking good.
Yeah,
Everything
Yeah, doing pretty good. As you know, what's happening around the world. So
Sure.
apart from that story, I'm pretty good. My family is pretty well. So enjoying some time with the family and kids and all these things. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
and
So cool to see again. But yeah, since we're on topic there, it's
mhm,
been a year for you, a year for us as well, where we're so to speak non-essentials and haven't been able to sort of work. How did that
sure.
year for you go, and how's it going now? You're back to work.
So you mean about the work?
Yeah, well, how was your year? Yeah, I mean, you must have had some rough times.
Ah,
Everything went
uh,
down for you.
yeah, I mean, if I really have to say you about 2020, um, was not good year not for me only, it's all for us actually.
Yeah.
So we were, I mean, not only me, the whole tourism industry in Nepal was completely silent in 2020.
Wow.
Because you know that last year, 24 March, I think, as I remember, 24 March, the government of Nepal announced the lockdown in Nepal. So we that time was just like the just
You're
before
just
our
about to
expedition
start the
kicked off.
season.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, to be honest, I was the one who packed all my gears, all my food, and transported to Pangboche. I mean, it's quite a, crazy thing, by the way. Transported all the stuff to Pangboche by like from Kathmandu to one place by truck, and then by helicopter to Pangboche. And my staff were all moved from Kathmandu last year before lockdown, just before lockdown, and they were in Pangboche, somewhere in the like say Feruche somewhere, and they were going to base camp that time. And
Mm.
suddenly we heard kind of lockdown in India, and once we heard lockdown in India, and there was a kind of, we can guess that once India lockdown, there is more guarantee, kind of surety that Nepal will be locked down. And actually, the next day, Nepal government announced lockdown in Nepal as well. And I have to stop all my stuff there at the same time. And there were some people, some of my supporters were, you remember the Thukla hill and everything. So some people were going up that hill somewhere little behind that place. And I have to stop everyone, and I have to say everyone that stop wherever you are, just come back from there, come to Pangboche, and you guys have to all store everything in Pangboche and then immediately come to Kathmandu, because government announced lockdown, so flight is going to be stopped so soon. And yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, 2020 and autumn season was completely silent. I mean, we have almost 4 months lockdown, continuous lockdown, and then government started, like slightly releasing something, kind of partial lockdown. And nowadays, I mean, it's kind of looks like complete open, but the virus is still there. I mean,
Mhm.
in compared to last year, we have really less cases nowadays. Tourism is, let's say, back. Government announced you can go for trekking, mountaineering, or whatever tourism activity you want to go. It's open, but business is still not back, unfortunately. I mean, there the, you I mean you know that some of the expedition is going on, and some people are on the way to base camp now. Some
Yeah.
they're about to fly Kathmandu, Lukla. Some people are in Kathmandu getting permit. Yeah, unfortunately, for Dream Himalaya Adventures, we are not doing expedition this season, unfortunately, because most of my clients normally come from Australia and South Africa, and few from Europe. And yeah, in
Yeah.
Australia, the stories is still very strict. They are not allowing their citizen to go out of
Oh, right.
Australia
Yes.
without any proper kind of strong reason. Like say they have to really apply for a kind of permit. And then if government sees it's a very genuine case that he or she can have to go somewhere, then they normally kind of allow them to go out of Australia. And
Mm.
Australian are, I think there is almost no Australian for trekking and mountaineering this
So,
season.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah,
you got shut down. You had gear on the mountain.
yep.
You got your team on the mountain. You're headed towards base camp. You get into lockdown. So I presume, for example, everybody's paid their
Mhm,
Everest deposit.
mhm,
At which point you have to hold it in silence and say, "Hey, look, guys, it's next year." I presume,
mm,
and
mm,
your clientele are from Australia, and they can't
mhm.
leave the country.
Yeah, actually the story is slightly. I mean that is also correct. Like Australian, the government is not allowing them to go out of
Right.
Australia. They are allowing for kind of the UN work, the UNICEF work, right? And they can go if they have family big issues, something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So for a specific for trekking and mountain, and another reason, is strong reason, is that Nepal government applied quarantine for a tourist, and it is really just like, say, I think it's been not more than 10 days now. Government actually released the quarantine system. Now, if anybody comes to Nepal, they don't have to stay in quarantine,
Okay.
but the policy is that they have to come with the PCR report, 72 hours prior PCR report, or double vaccine, and they have to re-PCR in Kathmandu, and then if they got like negative PCR in Kathmandu as well, then they can go for trekking and mountaineering.
Right.
Let's say if you talk about 10 days before, government says you have to come with PCR reports 72 hours before, come to Kathmandu. You have to stay in, like, say, 7 days in quarantine compulsory.
Mm.
Like, if even you come with
Yeah.
PCR, and then day 5 you have to stay in the hotel for quarantine, and day 5 you have to go for PCR, re-PCR. And if your PCR is negative, then after 7 days, because PCR normally comes nowadays, it comes like 10 hours. That time it comes normally in 24 hours. So then only in day 7 they can go for trekking and mountaineering, and especially for citizens for UK and South Africa, where the new coronavirus really affected, and the government has like policy to stay in 10 days quarantine. So that's really also impact the whole tourism industry. And the government recently released the quarantine system. Now they don't have to stay in quarantine, but there is still, they have to follow, or they have to, like, they have to really go with the protocol, the COVID protocol still. That's little flexibility, because the expedition is not like you can just plan in, like, say, 1 week before, 2 weeks before, or maybe a month before. You have to plan at least a
Yes,
year
of
ahead,
course.
or
Yeah.
maybe 2 years ahead. And then there were lots of uncertainties, like, say, still the flight is not back to back in Kathmandu. Like, I think even not even half of the flights is operating in Kathmandu from the
Mm.
international airline. And that's one of the case. And then there was a quarantine system, and there was, like, a kind of uncertain that what the government react, what happens if Kathmandu, like, if I get coronavirus in Kathmandu. Lots of uncertainties were
Right.
there.
Right.
That's the reason that people are a bit scared to come for trekking and mountaineering in Nepal
Mm.
still. But hopefully, once if everybody gets double vaccine, then it will be more, really, I think, relaxed. Hopefully autumn will be better for trekking, I
Yeah.
think.
Sure.
Some expedition is going on, but trekking is bit silent still.
Yeah. Dawa, before we let's step back a little bit. Can you give our audience a quick background about you and your company, Dream Himalaya?
Oh, sure, why not? Okay. So my name is Dawa Sherpa Lama. Actually, I originally came from Far East Nepal, the bottom of the Mount Kanchenjunga, which is third highest in the world. So it's called Taplejung district. It's far west eastern Nepal. And actually, I mean, if I have to tell in brief, then I came Kathmandu around 22 years ago as a student. And so I have been working in this industry. It's more than now 16 years now. And like, and I have been operating Dream Himalaya Adventures from 2012. um, so I have been running trekking and mountaineering, especially in Nepal and Tibet Himalayas, so, or anywhere in Nepal, anywhere in Tibet. Not really focus in Pakistan expedition sort of things, but I have been running average expedition every year. But 2020 was really bad year, so we were unable to do that. And 21 is still not back to normal, so things are not back to normal. People are little expedition things are coming, but not back to normal. So hopefully Dream Himalaya will back to work, back to in full pace from autumn season, and we have some small bookings already. So hopefully we can serve even the Filipino people. So I normally work with the Filipino as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Dawa, so for our listeners and our audience out there, I'd like to, this might be a little bit biased, but I'd like to say that Dream Himalayas the best outfitter in Nepal. So if you're looking to do some trekking and some climbing and some big mountains, Dawa and Dream Himalaya, he's the man. I know from experience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. I think many people in Filipino probably know this face. You see,
Yeah,
so
man.
yeah, yeah. I've been there once, so and then I have worked with the Filipino people quite a lot. So
And you
Yeah,
have
thank
you
you.
have a huge international marketing
yeah,
as well.
yeah, that's correct. So
That's
yeah, I work for people from around the world actually. Yeah.
So that was going back to what you're saying. You mentioned that this season you don't have any expedition at
Do you have
all.
do you have any treks?
Do you have
Anything going at
anything?
all? Base camp treks? Anything? Any?
Uh, I told you that like trekking and mountaineering is slightly different, as you know that very well. So mountaineering people, especially Everest experienced people, they have to plan quite ahead, not like trekking. Normally, even trekking people, normally sometimes they can plan 3 months before, but expedition, especially Everest expedition, people have to plan maybe 3 years before, or maybe
Yeah.
even more than that. You know, and then people are waiting for Everest expedition since last 2 years, let's say, 1920, and then all. So and then as I told you that like last year Everest expedition, actually the whole tourism industry was shut down just before the season, 24th of March, and our season start from let's say end of March and early April, you see.
Mhm.
And those people who paid their deposit last year, and normal, not deposit, I would say full amount, those people who paid their full amount for Everest expedition, I think let's say 70% of people, they are on every expedition now, and they are, some people are in Kathmandu, some are on the way to Lukla, and some people are already base camp as well. That's the reason that Everest expedition is going on, because people have paid their money, like.
Right.
Mhm.
And then another reason is that Everest expedition needs minimum of 70 days, right? So and then 10 days before, government has policy that they have to stay in 7 days quarantine, you see. And I think for Everest, those people who come for Everest expedition, they don't have really big issue to stay for, let's say, 5 days quarantine in Kathmandu out of 70 days they can manage it. Where if we talk about trekking, and
Yeah.
trekking people, they want to come Kathmandu, they want to stay 1 night, maximum 2 night, and they want to go to Lukla or start their trekking, or they want to go to anywhere, like say if they go to Annapurna area, they go to Pokhara or somewhere, they just start right after 2 days, and they don't have time for 7 days quarantine in Kathmandu. And that international, normally
Sure.
European or American, whatever, they have limited days for trekking, you see. And that's one of the big reasons that trekking is a bit silent. And as I heard that big outfitter like who runs series of trip, thousands of people, let's say, like they are not selling trekking for Nepal this season, because government announced, because I think the reason that government announced like releasing on this protocol quite late, you see. If they
Right.
release, let's say,
That just
like
happened about a
January,
week ago,
yeah,
right?
if they say January, if they announce in January, people have time to plan for it, you see. Just
Mm.
right before
Right.
starting the season, and they're releasing the protocol, you see. And people, they don't have plan, they have to manage their flight, they have to talk with their family, they have to
Totally.
convince their
Yeah.
family, they have to manage financially, lots of
Yeah,
things,
that's hard.
like require before flying to Kathmandu. So that's one of the reasons that trekking is really silent. Listen, there are some people, I'm not saying that there is no tourist for trekking, there are some people, but I would say maybe 10%,
Majorly, yeah.
15% out of 100% for trekking. Yeah,
So
but yeah, going ahead, yeah, go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, I'm curious. Last year when you had to put a stop, what were you doing a trekking or a mountaineering expedition last year
Did,
or 2020?
did,
uh,
did you have an
Yeah,
Everest expedition?
2020. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Last year was it was kind of a combined trip. We have had trekkers for base camp, bunch of trekkers to base camp. We
Mhm.
have had expedition team, expedition climber to go to for the Mount Everest, and that's the reason that we packed. And then the reason that we have first, I still remember that we have a group to fly Lukla on 16th of March. By the way, you see, 16th March last year, and people are supposed to come Kathmandu on 14th of March. Full lockdown started in 24 March, but the kind of partial lockdown started, I think it says 17, 18, something like that. I can't remember exactly. and then we have bunch of trekkers and bunch of people for climbing Mount Everest. So, and then one group from South Africa especially, there were 22 people, kind of student and teachers group, you see. And they normally, it's their third time to come Nepal for base camp, and they normally sleep 2 nights at the base camp. That's what our plan. And they actually, like came to Cape Town airport to fly Kathmandu, and as I heard, they asked the airline that, because there were lots of uncertainty that time as well, what's going to happen, because the virus was new and people were scared, and they asked the airline that, like what's going in Kathmandu, like things like that. The interesting thing, I will tell you one thing, that they were flying the day they were supposed to fly out of Cape Town. That day starts lockdown in Nepal, but government announced lockdown from 12 a.m. nighttime. Nighttime. Let's say nighttime, and they're supposed to arrive Kathmandu the same day, but around like say 11 a.m. in the morning time. They were a bit confused that 12 nighttime or 11 landing kind of thing. They were a bit confused what happens.
Sure.
They asked airline, and asked airline said them that you can fly to Kathmandu, but once you fly out of like Cape Town airport, Cape Town airport, if something happened in Kathmandu airport or maybe the Dubai airport, we are not responsible for that. Your flight is gone.
Well,
if you want,
I wish I would have flown to Kathmandu on that day.
But
I would have been.
But I'll tell you the whole story. And then actually, I think they made a good decision not flying out of Cape Town. The reason is that, and the people, the government was allowing to come out of Kathmandu airport if landing before 12 night time that day. You see, they were arriving 11 in the daytime same day. And they didn't fly. But those who came Kathmandu and flew to Lukla and started their trekking, everybody has to return back from Namche somewhere. Everybody they return back. The reason that I think it's 26th of March, 26th of March, I guess. Yeah, all the international flight were like withdrawing. There were no international flight, and all the airline operator have to call our like trekkers and stuff, come back Kathmandu soon, because all the flight is going to be stopped, and everybody returned back from halfway. So they made decision not to. They made decision not to fly out of Cape Town. Now still they have a safe trek. Maybe they can. I mean, they have planned to come this year, this March.
Right.
But the problem that the South Africa is badly affected by the coronavirus as well.
Right.
I think it is a school team, so school not allowed them to go for trekking this season. And and then they actually they are committed to come next year.
wow.
So I've got a question here about some of the new rules and protocols. The Nepali Department of Tourism has issued a new set of rules, and one is visitors may take photographs and videos, but they're prohibited from sharing them without permission of the department. What's your thoughts on this, and how would you brief your clients and your team?
Yeah, I heard some news on some kind of news online and all these things. The story started from kind of from a
Everest
report. A reporter from India. I can't remember his name.
Nimrod.
He flew with one. Yeah, he flew to Kalapatar base, I guess, by a helicopter, and he captured lots of videos there, and then put on Indian news, I guess. And they actually claim, kind of saying that Everest is ours as well, something like that. They announced it was big news in Nepal, and then that's the reason that nowadays government saying there are lots of quite new rules, like even as you saying that the videography and photograph, if someone taking for personal use, that is okay from the government side. If someone like taking for like the kind of publishing in a news,
right,
kind of international news,
depends
let's say
on how you share.
If one of the, let's example, if a Filipino came to Nepal and did a Everest base camp trek and took a videos, and he wants to put that on the news, that is not allowed. They have to get permission for that. That's the reason. Someone taking for personal use, for just like for personal view, just sharing with the friends, that's fine. That is not a problem. And then another protocol nowadays applying especially for helicopter issue. It's
Yeah,
been kind of discussion matter nowadays. Yeah, I think you heard about that
I
as
did.
well
I
for
hear
that.
there's a big
So
discussion about
that's a
flights without
yeah, yeah.
papers. Yeah.
Yeah, they have certain landing places, like kind of applied by the local government from the Kumbu Valley. You see, I think it's in Namche, and then Lukla, and probably Everest Base Camp somewhere, I guess. And nowadays, without like before, let's say a Chinese went for Everest Base Camp trek, and she wants to fly out of Kalapata, sorry, from Gorakshep.
Hmm.
Nowadays, as per that rule, you cannot fly that way. You
Okay.
need a special reason to fly that from Kalapata, from Gorakshep.
Mhm.
Commercial wise, nowadays they are saying no, you cannot fly that way. If it is a rescue matter, some medical issues, now that's not a problem. But
Right.
for before they were like before, we don't need any reason to fly out from anywhere. People call for helicopter if they wants to pay, if they are able to pay, they can pay, and they fly out of helicopter from
Anyway,
anywhere nowadays. Yeah, nowadays that is
yeah.
for now that is stopped. Yeah, they need a special reason for that, and they have
Anyway,
to apply
it's
for
about the
permit,
noise
then only they can
pollution.
fly.
Yeah, the environment. The other thing that I read was if you do fly out for a medical reason,
Mm.
you're required to go to the hospital, stay at the hospital, go through the checkup uh, in regards to trying to eliminate a bit of insurance fraud, which we all know has happened a few times. People jump on the helicopter and claim insurance for that. So that's probably a good thing. Hopefully they can slow that down a bit.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I had a question for you. Since
sure.
you're sort of in the know, and you got we heard Tandy was on the mountain, and some of your partners as well. But what are the conditions on Everest this year? Have you heard anything about the ice fall? How does it look?
uh Sorry, I didn't hear a particular, news about the ice fall, but I think there is no news at all. And I tell you one thing, that myself, I'm also a board member for Expedition Operator Association Nepal. You see, so normally we have had meetings sometimes, so we normally update all these things. So I think there is no issue at all about the ice fall. I think
So it
everything is
looks pretty
going
good.
well. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, there is no issue at all.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in touch with Tandy, and he said that he's part of the team that's gonna fix
That's
the
good.
line
Yeah.
from Camp
Yeah,
Two
yeah,
all the
that's
way to
good.
the
Yeah,
summit.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's
You know that Tendi is our like a regular staff, and he has been working with us since long time. We have been giving training. And nowadays he's a national guide nowadays. He's a professional guide. So
Okay. Cool.
he's going to be a professional mountain guide soon. I think the next level is professional mountain guide, which we call, I mean, everybody calls, it is recognized by UIAGM, IFMG Mountain Guide. So he is on the way for that, right? And
yeah,
this year, as I told you, that Dream Himalaya has no Everest expedition. So unfortunately, we have to tell our staff to go and work with someone else. And you know that they were, unemployed since more than one. I mean, actually, it's autumn 2019. That from that point, we are not doing any work. It's been actually close to 2 years. Like we say 2020, but our work ends from
yeah,
November 2019. You see,
right, yes,
so Tendi is lucky that Tendi is working with the fixing team this time. There is, I mean, as fixing is under the Expedition Operator Association of Nepal, because we are the agency like Expedition, we call it EOAN, Expedition Operator Association of Nepal. That association is, kind of organizing the whole fixing in Everest, Lhotse,
hmm,
and even in Ahmedabad, I guess. Yeah. So Tendi is part of that team. There, I think we allocated eight dedicated staff, professional Sherpa staff, to make the rope, to make fix the line all the way to summit, and to monitor during the expedition time if there is any problem, any maintenance required. So those people will go to the mountain and like maintain wherever it requires. So Tendi is one of them, and he's already at base camp.
Yeah,
He's
that's good.
probably
Yeah,
going to Camp
we're
One
we're
somewhere. Yeah.
we're in touch with him. Yes, and
He's carrying our flag to the summit.
and I'm sure he has, he will look up at
He's
his credit and with working with
Sure.
the Dream Himalaya.
Yeah, man. He's
Yeah,
he's
Sure.
really
gone a
good.
long way.
He's since we met him, he's really just grown up and just turned into. He's a bit of a savage. He's really strong. Pretty
Yeah.
strong climber, right?
Yeah, he is.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
he's a young guy, so he's a young guy, and we personally, I have been motivating him to go for a special training as he's young. His English is pretty good, so I have been normally saying him that you have a good future in mountaineering industry. So
Yeah.
so he's pretty dedicated on his training. So
Thanks
if
to
there
you,
is no
he was
yeah,
in good
yeah,
hands.
if there was no lockdown, he would be already a professional mountain guide, UIA GM, IFA mountain guide. But due to lockdown, so all the training were stopped, and I think he's soon going for that one. I think right after Everest expedition, I guess.
Wow.
Right.
So now, what are your thoughts on the recent K2 Nepali winter ascent?
It was a history for Nepalese mountaineers and mountaineering industry.
Yeah.
And all the I mean it's a I mean and even the climber who have done K2 last winter, that's a history, you see. And even like they were saying on their interview that it's a teamwork, by the way, because originally they were I think they were actually three different Nepalese team. One was led by my friend Mingma Galjan Sherpa, and another was led by a famous climber Nirmal Purja. We call it Names Dai,
Yeah.
and another was part of the Seven Summit Trek. So originally they were a different team, and then they went to Pakistan and established their camp, and they were like fixing their lines up to the summit. And some point their mind turn up and saying that I think if we team up, if we combine our team, then we can make it and make the history, because there were a bunch of, I think, Western climber to make the history as well. There were a bunch of Western climber.
Cool.
And all these things like have happen just because of the good teamwork. And I think it was really good luck, I mean, kind of luck for them. And even I think some of the climber said on their interview that they were in, I think, camp 3 or camp 4, and then the Western were just below one camp there. And the weather was very good where the Nepalese were, you see. The weather was really bad below that one. See, that was luck for Nepalese climbers. So it's a big history. So, and I think we really appreciate the Nepalese climber. And then one of the I think one of the famous climber, I think Nirmal or maybe
Yeah.
Ningma were saying that all 8,000 meter, that 14 8,000 meter, we have 8 in Nepal, and all the first ascent record, if we check on Wikipedia or wherever, Google, so it's all Westerners name. So why shouldn't Nepalese have one record, you see? So that's the one kind of motivation them to be like a team, you see. And they combine their team and they really power up their team. And I think that's something really like push them to go for summit. And that was, I think, really
Yeah.
awesome.
It was
That was
I wanna-
exciting.
yeah, it was awesome. It's badass. I'm sure you've seen it, that video when they're all at the summit and they
Yeah.
all join hands
They
and
were
sing
singing.
the anthem. That was
Definitely.
awesome. Is that-
That was planned. That was kind of planned that as I told you, like normally in the kind of first ascent, like to make the history, people were competing each other all the time. So once originally they were competing each other as well, the Nepalese team, and once they team up, then they decided that okay, we team up, we do combined effort, we put combined effort to make the line, to make the fixed rope up to the summit. And and they planned that. So we won't say anybody first or second, you see. We won't say anybody first or second. They said that we go together, we stop 10 meters below the summit, everybody, and we go together singing the Nepalese anthem. You see, that was the plan. That was really awesome.
great.
That really kind of like attract millions of Nepalese to us. Really, that moment, you see.
Yeah,
And it was
that
really
cemented a moment in history for the Nepalese climbers, the baddest
Congratulations.
mofos on the
It's really
planet.
cool. Yeah. So Hey, if all goes well, what's lined up for you for Dream Himalaya Adventures, further plans this year and in the future?
Do you are you saying that the trip lineup?
Yeah, if when
After
what's
the
your
season, for
after
example,
season?
let's say they don't shut down,
Yeah.
COVID doesn't stop anything, the
Mhm.
year stays open. What's
Mhm.
it looking like in the year?
Oh,
What's coming up?
to be honest, you see, I think I must tell this thing. To be honest, the coming days are not easy, I guess, for Nepalese tourism because uh, I think if you heard on news or not, India has big second wave of coronavirus nowadays.
Hmm.
And they are close to 100,000 every day, like a new virus, detected, right?
Hmm.
And if we check maybe 2 weeks before, the every 24 hours, like new virus in India was about 10,000 to 15,000, and now within a 2 weeks they have close to, yesterday was 93,000, new virus found in India. And
Hmm.
you know that our southern side is completely open with the open border with India.
Right.
Thousands of thousands people going to India every day, and thousand people coming to Nepal from India every day. You see, and even last 2020, we were badly affected by coronavirus because there were, like thousands of, like, like there, I don't know, 500,000, close to millions of Nepalese came in Nepal from India, and there some people were infected by the virus, and somehow that just, like the one, two, three, four, and then hundred and thousand, and that actually came to Kathmandu as well.
Mm.
I can see that kind of scenario probably soon as well, because this is the fact, you see, because India, the coronavirus nowadays is picking up. I mean, it's, like, I don't know, like I said you 2 weeks ago, 10,000. Now it's close to 100,000 now.
Mhm.
So, and Nepal government is more like, nowadays government is saying they are more kind of, like they're more sensitive nowadays, but I think, I don't know. It won't look very happy days soon, I guess. If I mean, but nowadays people have kind of confident that, like, like it's quite, like, interesting. Like, we have had like 4 months of lockdown, and even myself, I was locked down in my house. You see, doing going nowhere. Like, if I go to the little curry, like say vegetable shop, I just picked up vegetable and quickly run to my home. That's, and then normally we wash the, all these things. Nowadays we have more confidence if we properly wear the masks, and if we, do hand wash, all these things, people are more confident. But thing is that it's not Kathmandu. Nepal is not only Kathmandu Valley. There are more people out of Kathmandu Valley. They all have to be more sensitive, you see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's, as India has viruses, new virus picking up very badly nowadays. Hopefully, I think that soon, I think, impact Nepal as well, because the border is still open and people are going here and there, coming into Nepal, all these things. So I'm little scared with even the expedition going on now. If,
Mm.
like in a 2 weeks or a month time, if virus picked up in Nepal badly. Like nowadays, I think we have around 1,200, active cases. If
Hmm.
it goes to 10,000 active cases, then government will be forced to do something. You see, because our country is small, and then our government is not that much strong as European government, something like that. And then, and we have a limited resources, and then government will be forced to do kind of lockdown and all these things. And maybe if flights got down, then there will be a big problem. But there was big hope, maybe a month before, but nowadays, as India's virus is picking up
Mm.
really badly, so that's
Okay.
little on my mind, saying that, oh my God, that's badly may affect in Nepal as well.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I think our tourism industry was actually picking up. Even myself, Dream Himalaya, we have a small Amadamla expedition confirmed for autumn, October. We have few trekkers already booked for Everest Base Camp and some other trek, even Annapurna trekking. Hopefully it will be okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
too much now, so we have been unemployed from almost 2 years, and like our staffs have a very difficult time. Those trekking guides living in Kathmandu with their family, with their kids, and they have only income source from trekking, doing a trekking guide, all these things. I mean, can you imagine that they don't have even 1 rupees income since close to 1 year. Even myself, I don't have even $1 income from last 1.5 years. So I have trouble to run my family nowadays, to be honest, you see.
Yeah.
And can you imagine that what's going on with the general, the trekking guides, and they have kids going to school, and school are not, like it's not free, you see, and they have to leave their daily life as well. So their life is not easy. Those depends on tourism industry in Nepal nowadays.
Yeah.
Same
So
here.
we feel you, as well that we've been in tourism and guiding for, over 10 years now. And we've had, we're completely locked down for a year now. So no one's allowed to come or go. And it's been difficult for us and just to take care of the family and make ends meet as well. So, and there's a lot more people out there in far worse conditions than we are. So it's very positive here that Nepal is open right now, and there's some commerce and some trekking and climbing going again. And we're wishing you the best of luck, hoping that your business picks up. Definitely good to get you back out working. We're hoping and we're rooting for you for sure. So
Yeah. I mean, good news is that the vaccine thing is going pretty good in Nepal. Like, I don't know exact numbers, but there are hundreds of countries still in the world that they are not they haven't got vaccine, right? I don't know what's going on in Philippines, but Nepal vaccine thing is going pretty good, because as we are a neighboring country to India and China, and India and China is the biggest country to produce all the vaccines, so they are supplying vaccine all around the world. And as we are close neighbor to India and China, so they are also, kind of donating the vaccine to Nepal. So vaccine has started pretty well, and already given vaccine for is above 65, those for the health worker, security worker, all the people. And from, I think, next Monday, I think this coming Monday, so even the I think it's a third phase or fourth phase of vaccine is starting for for frontline workers. I think I heard in the news that they are giving vaccine above 40 years of age as well. So vaccine things is going pretty good. So hopefully, I think we'll be fine, I guess. Yeah, and tourism will back to normal, and then we can start our work, and everybody will be happy soon, I guess.
Yeah.
work makes me happy.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
Dawa, it's been great to see you again,
Great
and
catching up.
yeah, spending time even if
yeah,
short, and
yep,
talking to you, and yeah, catching up on what's happening and what has been happening and what your plans in the future. And we
yeah.
really wish you well, your family, health wise and work wise, business wise, everything. Just giving you positive vibes.
Yeah, we're hoping we can get back over there within the year as well. Want to come visit, drink some tea with you, have sit
Drink
down,
some.
hang out.
Yeah.
We'd like to go.
Sure, sure.
We'd like to go up and visit our daughter, so maybe we can come
Mm.
over there and help you out with some.
Sure, sure. I think as you both love Nepal, and I must say you that it's that like Nepal is your second home.
Yeah,
Of course,
thank you.
where you born is your first home. Nepal is your second home. You are always welcome to Nepal. Nowadays, actually, people are still scared, but right now, I'm saying right now, it is not really a problem to come Nepal and do any trekking and mountaineering.
Okay.
Hopefully same will be continue, and yeah, and we really wants to welcome you guys in Nepal, and hopefully we can do some trip together. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll put this up here shortly. We'll have it up within a day. We'll definitely be pumping it into the Philippine sort of market through our social channels. We'll provide
Thank
all
you
the
very much.
links
Yeah.
to your
Thank you very
website,
much. Thank
and
you very much. Yeah.
hopefully we
Thank you
can
very
help
much.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
far out.
And if I need to be explain more thing about what's going in Nepal, all these things, if you call me for another one,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm always ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always
Thank
ready.
you.
You're
Thank
good
you.
at
All
it.
right. Yeah.
Regards to you, Dawa.
See you,
Namaste.
brother.
Bye bye.
You're
Take
good.
care,
Bye-bye.
all the Filipinos. You guys have a
Yeah,
safe days ahead. All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you too, bro.
Okay.
Good to see you. Take
Bye.
care.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.